Chapter 14. From the outside, it looked like an abandoned factory tucked away amid vacant lots beneath a Los Angeles freeway. Two town cars and an unbelievably slick sports car were parked in the shadows, well hidden from any wandering eyes that might find their way to the space. Long defunct railroad tracks surrounded it, and puddles of oil marred the cracked concrete. Inside sat one of the world's richest and smartest men. He was seated at a table, facing an empty chair and surrounded by fantastically high-tech screens. One was lit up with the SHIELD insignia. Another kept track of current news events with a constant feed of international newscasts. Still another showed stock quotes, weather reports from around the world, and hotspots of what could only be classified as strange activity. After a few minutes of pursuing the various displays, Tony grew bored and turned his attention to the desk. On it was a small stack of printed files. Curious, Tony grabbed the top one and checked out the cover, which read, Avengers Initiative, Preliminary Report. Intrigued, Tony opened it up to take a look. But before he could digest any information, a powerful hand swept down and grabbed the folder from him. Tony looked up into the familiar face of Colonel Nick Fury. Although Tony repeatedly said he didn't want any part of the Avengers Initiative, there was something about it that interested him, so he kept coming back. I don't think I want you looking at that, Fury said as he sat down at the table. I'm not sure it pertains to you anymore. Colonel Fury held up a similar file. Now this, on the other hand, is Agent Romanoff's assessment of you. Read it. He tossed the file to Tony, who opened it and began to read. Personality overview. Mr. Stark displays compulsive behavior. In my own defense, that was last week. Colonel Fury shot Tony a warning glance. Prone to self-destructive tendencies. I mean, please, and aren't we all? The Colonel kept Tony locked under his stern gaze. Textbook narcissism? Agreed. Despite the fact that Fury's expression had not changed at all, his anger was becoming more and more palpable. Okay, here it is. Recruitment assessment for Avenger Initiative. Iron Man, yes. Tony flung the file back at Fury, gloating. I've got to think about it. Read on, Fury replied flatly. Tony again picked up the file. Tony Stark. Not recommended? Colonel Fury leaned back in his chair and raised an eyebrow at Tony. That doesn't make any sense, Tony protested. How can you approve me, but not approve me? I've got a new ticker. I'm trying to do right by Pepper. I'm in a established relationship. Which leads us to believe that at this juncture, we'd only like to use you as a consultant, Fury explained. Tony looked a little bit bummed. He nodded, then stood up and extended his hand to Fury. Fury took it, and as they shook, Tony smiled and said to him, You can't afford me.